Welcome to WesternSlopeNow.com. Meteorologist Russ Pappas here. So we're wrapping up the work week, plenty of sunshine, and I just want to say I don't mind being wrong, especially when it's the cold aspect of things. But here's what we did this morning. We were 16 degrees at Grand Junction. We were 11 at Montrose. Both locations, we were expecting some colder temperatures. We didn't get it. Hooray. -1 for Gunnison instead of -10 readings in Gunnison. Hooray. That's good. But we still have this cold air mass in place, especially in the morning hours. So we're going to be right back in these cold temperatures again Saturday morning. Now, the average low for this time of the year in Montrose is 18. The average low at Grand Junction is 19. So we're still a little bit colder, and we still do suspect that Gunnison and Craig, the North and South Valley locations, will still be under these cold air inversions. So significantly colder starts and really limited warmth in the afternoon hours. Now, as we get into Friday, these are the current temperatures. As of near 5 o'clock, we were just in the upper 30s. So far for the day, those are also the high temperatures of the day. Low 40 at Delta, just below 20 degrees at Gunnison. So even though we've had sunshine on Friday, even though we've had light winds, quiet weather, we still have just come in slightly under the average temperatures, which is about 40, 41 between Grand Junction and Montrose. And that's okay. We're got room for improvement, and that's exactly what we're going to get on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and even into Tuesday of next week. Light wind speeds at this recording, less than 10 miles per hour. Top wind gusts of the day, probably felt, at least in my experience in East Orchard Mesa this morning, that was the 15-mile-per-hour blast I felt right around 10:30. So nothing greater than 10 to 15 miles per hour, and that's great. We will not revisit these wind speeds, 15 to 25, possibly 30, until about Tuesday of next week. That's when we have a cold front arriving, and that's when we're going to get another round of unsettled conditions, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Radar, satellite imagery, there's nothing in the sky, really. It's a bluebird day on this Friday. Perfect way to wrap up the work week. Also, nothing on radar. We don't have any storms. We don't anticipate any storms either. As far as hazardous weather goes, there's just a sliver. This is the Roaring Fork River. This is a flood advisory because of ice jams. At any point in the next couple of days, those ice jams are going to burst, and the water that's been dammed up behind it is going to flow freely between Carbondale, El Jebel, Basalt, these three areas in the Pitkin County, Garfield County, and Eagle County zones. They're susceptible to flooding along that river area, so just be mindful if you're going to be recreating around that. Now, high pressure system, you can see that the arrows arcing up and over the western third of the United States. That's what's keeping us clear, that's what's keeping us dry, that's what's helping with our temperatures. This has also been the reason why our storms have deflected away from us and have either gone down east of the divide, or sometimes 1 out of 5, they happen to fall west of the divide. So not very beneficial for storms, not very beneficial for precipitation. We have rain deficits at Grand Junction, almost ½ an inch. For Montrose, it's almost ¼ of an inch. So with this high pressure system in place, we don't get a lot of action. We get a lot of sunshine. Now, this is going to start to shuffle towards the east because of a low pressure system late Sunday. It's currently off the California coast. Late Sunday night, this is going to start traversing inland. This is going to remain in the southern latitude. So we're talking Arizona, New Mexico, Panhandle, Texas, Oklahoma. But as always with these cutoff lows, they could change direction, and this could swing northeastward through the Four Corners region, right up into the San Juans, right up into the divide. You never know with this. But as it stands right now, this southerly track south of the Four Corners will just introduce cloud coverage Sunday night, Monday afternoon, and Tuesday afternoon. Now, by itself, that's a wild card storm system. But when you compare it, or when you add it in tandem with another system, which we have in the Pacific Northwest, these are both going to act to A, kick that high pressure system out of the western third of the United States, but also B, allow a significant deep area of low pressure to develop in that place. Instead of the high, we'll get now a significant low, which is similar, not exactly, but similar to what we had in late December. So this opens up the window to a lot more storm activity. This opens up the window to a lot more storms dropping out of the Pacific Northwest, thanks to that cutoff low, carving out the, well, essentially eroding underneath that high pressure system. So with this happening, the first round coming through is a cold front, Tuesday into Wednesday. And with that, we'll see some cooler temperatures, but not before we start our weekend. because the weekend itself is all about sunshine and daydreams. Dry conditions, quiet weather. We're going to work on these high temperatures. You can see on the board here, improvements compared to Friday, today, will be felt tomorrow. A nice weekend is in store, so don't fret. Just make sure you get that sunblock out. Now, late Sunday night, we'll get that cloud coverage in response to those systems I talked about. As of now, this is dry for the western slope. Now, the mountain zones, that'll be a different story. I think we are going to get some snow on the order of 5 to 15 inches Tuesday into Wednesday. Cold front will have passed through. Ahead of the front, Tuesday afternoon, expect some breezy conditions. 25-mile-per-hour winds, that's a good starting point. The higher in elevation you go, the stronger the winds will be. After the cold front, post-frontal weather, always clear on Wednesday, always colder. And you can see the rest of next week, colder temperatures. But we're going to be watching because the window's now open. As long as we don't get a high-pressure system building back in, the window's now open for more Pacific Northwest storms out of the Gulf of Alaska to start riding southeastward right across the Intermountain West, right into Colorado. So that's what we're hoping. That's the pattern we're hoping develops for the beginning of February, and that would mean January goes out like a lamb and February comes in like a hungry lion, if you will. Taking a look at Montrose, same situation for the weekend. Mild, clear, quiet, very enjoyable. By the start of next week, we're going to have our temperatures in the 40s. These are not records, but this is slightly above the average. Tuesday, we have the cold front. Tuesday, we anticipate winds. Monday and Tuesday, we have cloud coverage in response to that cutoff low to our south. Cold front comes through, significantly colder air for late next week. We're still going to evaluate whether or not these lower elevations can get rain or snow. But if you remember, going into December, we were having that snow line battle, the elevation line, trying to see how low we could get that snow line to drop. So we're probably going to be evaluating that again next week. But as it stands right now, mountain zones should stand to get some snow for the middle of next week.